Hi, mis amigos. Leticia here. I trust your week has been going well. I trust you're all doing well. It's been a little while since I've done one of my webinars, but again, I wanted to challenge myself and do one because, again, it's been a while and I keep saying I'm going to do it, and then I get busy with the rest of my work and my life, and it's been nonstop. Okay, so thanks for those of you who are watching this live, and also thanks to those of you who will be watching this after the fact. I figured I could talk about yet another amazing project that is coming to market in Playa, but what I wanted to do, and I prepared some slides for you, and I actually had them ready as of almost a month ago, but I felt like they weren't fully ready, so bear with me. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Let me just bring them up. Okay, I think I have them just about ready to go. Oh, and now I lost you guys. Okay, no, I have it. Okay, thank you for your patience. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. Well, I can't see you, but thank you for tuning in. Gosh, how do I do this? I want to share my screen. Share screen. I'm doing this. Okay, I think this is it. Yes, share. Okay, and I can go to slideshow. Okay, my friends, so without further ado, as they say, I will go ahead and share my slides with you and tell you a little bit about what I'm seeing in the Playa real estate market as of late, okay? And as this slide says, Americans and Canadians are returning to the market. Now you may say, what do you mean they're returning? Well, I'll be honest with you. This time last year, and for the past year, we had a bit of a lull in the market. And my justification for that was that the peso, this time last year, the peso was at 17 pesos for $1 and 11 pesos for the Canadian dollar. So the value of the peso relative to these major currencies had increased while our last president was in power, Lopez Obrador. As soon as Claudia Sheinbaum, our current president, came to power, the U.S. and Canadian media talked very badly about her. Mind you, they talked very badly about our previous president, who happened to have a huge approval rating here in Mexico, as does she, our current president. So anyway, without getting much into politics, the peso was oh yeah, when Claudia Sheinbaum came into power October of this year, the peso all of a sudden went back to its historical level of 20 pesos for each US dollar, and it also relatively depreciated in comparison to the Canadian dollar. And in addition to that, and then when Trump came into power, we saw that phenomenon remain the same because economically, people were betting on Trump. I think that's what was happening. That remains to be seen whether that's still the case or not. But bottom line, since the peso went back to its historical values, I saw all of a sudden more Canadians and Americans coming into the market. And now, I don't know what my next slide is about. Oh yeah, so my slides talked about the exchange rate. How long will this favorable exchange rate persist? We don't know, but what I do know is that there is a trend towards de-dollarization. So for now, I think this is a good time for Americans to take advantage of this favorable exchange rate. And let's be honest as well. The current political climate in the U.S. is definitely affecting things. And what I mean by that is increasingly I'm seeing American buyers, American clients that are coming to Mexico, and literally they're getting out of the US. I just had this mature American couple. They literally sold everything in the US and moved to Playa about a week and a half ago, and signed a 1-year lease. They're like, listen, we're going to rent for a while, and we'll be ready to buy in a little bit, I just read an article today about how many Canadians are living in Ontario in particular. I was one of them for different reasons. We have different reasons why Canadians and Americans are now looking for either Plan B options or possibly even an exit plan. And ironically, how ironic, right? Mexico is now being perceived as, in some ways, a safer destination. I know the the US and Canadian media loves to speak badly about Mexico, and they continue to do so. And I'm not going to deny that Mexico has its problems. However, I will say that certain destinations in Mexico, such as where I am in Mexico, the Riviera Maya, um, there are certain destinations in Mexico that are definitely safer versus others. In fact, I've been living here almost 5 years now, and I would like to do a video about, what are my impressions after 5 years in Mexico. But hey, um, I would not live here if I perceived it to be an unsafe place to live. I can tell you that. I'm a mother, you guys know. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing happening right now. American buyers coming to the market, and either buyers or tenants for now. So either both. Okay. Now, for those of you who may not know about where Playa del Carmen is located, I'll share a map shortly. But we are 1 hour south of Cancun International Airport, which continues to be one of the top airports in Latin America. Very good connectivity with a lot of international destinations, including Canadian and American cities, as well as many European destinations, cities like London, cities in France, you name it. And recently, as you guys may know, that's a picture from Cancun Airport, not the most flattering one, but hey, whatever we could find. These are images of the new Tulum International Airport that I had the pleasure to travel out of last summer. And it's beautiful. It's a smaller airport, but it has a number of international flights already circulating directly to the US. And I remember reading that Aeromexico, which is one of the major airlines here in Mexico, they were going to have direct flights to Toronto and Montreal from Tulum International. I don't know if that's been started yet. I haven't had a chance to check, but I know at least as of last year, this was in the works already. Okay, again, now you guys have seen some of my webinars already, but again, since it's been a while, I will remind you that when it comes to the Playa real estate market, we have the two sides of the highway. And this yellow line that you see on the screen is the highway that connects Cancun to Playa del Carmen and further south to Tulum and all the way down to the Belize border. And everything that's on the beach side of the highway, well, let's talk about the two differences, okay? So on the beach side of the highway, also known as downtown Playa del Carmen or Playa Centro, the inventory is primarily beautiful condo buildings with beautiful amenities such as pools, gyms, co-working areas. Here we have a combination of studios, 1 and 2 bedroom units, and some 3-bedroom units. Some of the newest developments have placed more 3-bedroom units in their buildings because some clients requested. And then we have penthouse units, which are units that have a private rooftop. Sometimes that private rooftop will have, oftentimes it will have either a private dipping pool or a jacuzzi. And then we also have on the beach side of Playa, we do have some older style condo buildings. And what I didn't put on here is we do also have some Mexican style homes, for lack of a better term, because I don't know if I can even call them colonial style, because the homes in themselves, they literally were built by the locals some 30 years ago, and currently they're being sold for land value alone, because land on the beach side of Playa has become increasingly valuable because developers come in and they build a 20, 30 slash, or a higher unit building. So you can see how that land, nobody's buying those, very few people will be buying those homes for the homes in themselves, okay? And I want to give you an idea of the prices. So we have and we continue to have new inventory coming to market. I will admit, I feel like there was a bit of a slowdown last year when, again, we weren't sure what was happening with the dollar. But now there's still inventory coming to market. In the downtown Playa del Carmen area, we've seen a lot of studio buildings coming to market. I'm beginning to feel like the studio market is becoming overbuilt. And you guys have heard me say this before. I like to give my clients ideally multiple exit strategies for the unit. So unless a client, they really only have the budget for a studio and they're okay with that, or they're planning on using it personally, at this point in time, I would be more inclined to recommend to my clients that they get either a 1 or 2 bedroom unit if they can afford it. Okay, and also prices have gone up for studios. So to give you an idea, yes, while you can find some new inventory units for 125K, they're not going to be located in the most prime areas. If you're looking for an upscale studio, you're looking closer to the 200K, 180 to 200. Now, these will be very luxurious buildings with marble floors and amazing amenities. In fact, there is one that's currently coming to market that I will do a webinar about because I think the location is absolutely prime. It's really a spectacular building. So, some clients may be okay with having a studio unit. Anyway, I didn't mean to get into so many details. 1-bedroom units, new inventory or pre-construction, that's the price range you can expect to see them at. And these are prices in USD. I would say closer. I did a webinar about a month ago about a new project coming to Playa. I think the price point there is around 260, 270 for a 1-bedroom unit. Now, those are proper 1-bedrooms with a wall separation, because we also have these junior 1-bedrooms that are really a studio alternative where they have a sliding door separation. Those, you can still find those in the 250K price range, depending on the building, depending on the location. Again, these would be very in this walkable, desirable part of Playa. And then 2-bedroom units in new buildings, again talking about the beach side of Playa, the walkable, most desirable part of Playa. The new inventory is you're looking at 400K starting price point. I know people are like, ooh, Playa is getting kind of expensive. Well, I guess it's all relative. It is an international destination. People literally come from all over the world to I think it's becoming like a mini Miami in a way. Oh, but much more mini and cuter. Oh no, I like Miami too, but prices in Miami, well, you can check for yourself. I will say no more. Anyway, 3-bedroom units, not many on the market. And again, I'm talking about brand new units. Okay, and then we can talk about, okay, this is an example of a brand new studio unit. This is a render, but I actually was in this building because it's already been completed, and the render looks the real life actually looks better than the render. 1-bedroom, these are again renders of an upcoming building, gorgeous units, very beautiful. Some of the 1-bedroom new units are delivered furnished, some are delivered just equipped, depending on the project. Yeah. And then let's talk about resale inventory. Generally, if a client either has a lower budget or they're looking for a deal, there is more flexibility on the price for resale units. I mean, these are owners that would have bought their units a number of years ago, sometimes at early pre-construction prices. So they have a bit more flexibility on the prices, okay? Whereas with new projects, what I can tell you and what I've seen happen, and I've heard it speaking to developers, that the price of steel has gone up significantly, the price of concrete. For a while, and it's still not finished, we were competing for labor with workers that were working on the Mayan train project, which is a 20 billion project that the Mexican government was fully behind, and they were paying those workers very significant salaries. So the local developers had to compete with them. And one of the stretches of the Mayan train is still in the process of being completed. So that's still an ongoing issue that has essentially increased the cost of construction for new buildings. Whereas, again, if we're looking at existing inventory, you're looking at prices from back then. Of course, owners all want to be able to take some profit when they sell. However, again, you have more flexibility when you're looking at a resale unit, okay? So to give you an idea, studios, okay, I still put up to 240K USD for a resale studio. Well, depends. If you're in a building very close to the water, you may still find or a building that was delivered 1 or 2 years ago, those owners are going to expect something close to the market price of brand new units, okay? And 1-bedrooms, again, and I'll show you an example, you can expect to find 1-bedroom resale units in the 200 to 250K price range, like happy, medium, 230K. Again, these are USD prices. I apologize to my Canadian audience. But since we're still, it's still a dollarized market. And again, for some time last year when the dollar was dropping in relation to the peso, a lot of the local developers, they didn't know how much further it was going to drop. So a lot of the local developers had started pricing their units in pesos. That has changed now. And now we're seeing more and more projects coming to market listing USD pricing. Again, I expect that to continue as long as the dollar stays around, 20 pesos for the dollar. If we see that moving again, I can expect the same thing that happened last year. Okay. Again, better, like slightly lower prices for older 2-bedroom units, not older, but rather existing inventory. I have a few pictures to show you. This is a resale studio. This studio I personally have, and it's priced at 110K US. Okay, prime location in Playa. Very desirable studio, very desirable building. The studio is small. I will admit to that, but it's a upscale building, very clean, 24/7 security, very desirable neighborhood. Just to give you an idea of what your money can get in Playa. Okay, this is a 1-bedroom I personally currently have for sale. It's priced at 239K US. There is some flexibility on the price. And again, super prime location right behind the new Chedraui Selecto supermarket. That wall color has been changed to white. Ha ha ha. Okay, I just haven't had a chance to take new pictures. Okay, this is a 2-bedroom. I don't remember which unit this is. But again, a newer 2-bedroom. I don't think it's the best example. I think we have some better ones out there. This is a 3-bedroom. I mean, again, these are just random units. I can show you this 3-bedroom. This is in a building called Sabia, located, again, super prime location in Playa, walkable. You're, a 10-minute walk to the beach. Very spacious units. This building is about 9 or 10 years old, and a unit like this will run you around 350K US for a spacious, older, like existing inventory 3-bedroom. Okay. And this is an example of yet another older unit that's on the market. And this one, believe it or not, is priced at 200K US. And it's a huge unit, 120 square meters, which I know Canada and the US, you guys are used to thinking in square feet. A ver, 120 times 10.76, 1,200, almost 1,300 square feet, 1,291. Yeah, and it comes, and another nice thing about resale units, usually I know this furniture is nothing to write home about, but usually resale units will come fully furnished. Okay. Sometimes the owner will say, listen, the price includes the furniture, but we're going to take the furniture separately. That's a whole separate conversation, but sometimes sellers will do that in order to save a little bit on capital gains tax. We do have capital gains tax in Mexico. There are ways to exempt it. I'll do another webinar about that later. Okay. Now, on the beach side of the highway, we also have this neighborhood called Playa Car. And for the benefit of those of you who may not have been to Playa, don't know Playa Car, I'm going to show you where it is on the map. I'll just scroll back into my slides. So in the south end of Playa del Carmen, you see this neighborhood called Playa Car. This is a massive gated community. Gated, yeah, that's the word. And it's primarily residential. There are a handful of commercial plazas within Playa Car. If you go on my channel, Freedom Playa, and search Playa Car neighborhood, you're going to see some videos. It's an absolutely beautiful neighborhood. It's got a golf course in the middle. You've got beautiful palm trees. And in Playa Car, we have a combination of villas, and we do have some beautiful condos. So the inventory here is a combination of older and newer homes and older and newer condos. And to give you an idea, the new condo inventory, now the new homes that are coming to market usually are homes where somebody buys a lot, and it's not inexpensive. I mean, we're often looking at $1 million properties and up from there. You can buy resale homes. We'll talk about that in a second. So yeah, but just getting back to the new condos that are coming to market in Playa Car, these are the kind of prices you can expect. Generally, it is higher price, especially when it comes to the 2 and 3 bedrooms. That's usually the starting point. There is one project in Playa Car right now where you can get yourself a brand new 2-bedroom for the 350 in the 350K price range, maybe even a little bit below that. The finishings in that particular project are not necessarily as fancy as some of the competition. So you always get what you pay for. Wink, wink, wink. Okay. But yeah, definitely. So to give you an idea, my friends, okay, this picture on the left is actually wrong. This is one of my amazing clients' condo, but it's actually a 2-bedroom, not a 1-bedroom. But in the same complex, which is a gorgeous complex in the Playa Car neighborhood, we do have 1-bedroom units. in this style. Okay, the one bedrooms in that building will, again, resale one bedroom units will run you around the 320K price point. Two bedrooms closer to the 500K price point. This is another building that's coming to market. Delivery, I believe, end of this year. You get an idea of what kind of buildings you can expect in Playa Car, especially when it comes to new inventory. There is more space to build in Playa Car. So whereas in Playa Centro, developers have brought to market and are continuing to bring to market much smaller size units, usually trying to take full advantage of the smaller lots that we have in Playa Centro. In the Playa Car neighborhood, there is the lots of land that are still available are wider. So developers are generally bringing to market larger units and or very luxurious units. So yes, this is a 3-bedroom, same project, upcoming in Playa. Okay. Other neighborhoods on the beach side of the highway, I'm not going to get into the details because otherwise this would be a very long webinar, but we have, well, you can read it there. We have some gated communities in the north end of Playa. Mayacoba, you might have heard of Ciudad Mayacoba. Yeah, Mayacoba, we have the beach side of Mayacoba, which is multi-million-dollar homes, like $3 to $4 million homes, super exclusive. And we have, anyway, we have a few very high-end residential communities. They are mainly meant to be lifestyle communities. So people that want to live here full-time, or what I'm also seeing are wealthy Mexican families from cities like Monterrey, Mexico City, who like to have their vacation home in this area. And when I see those kinds of Mexican families, some of them will buy in these very upscale gated communities. Some of them will buy something a little more affordable. I guess depends on the person's budget. And then neighborhoods like Selva Mar, I currently have a home for sale there in the 850K price range, 4-bedroom luxury home, very exclusive, surrounded by nature. I'm overdue to post that video. I'll post it very soon. Thank you for your patience. Okay, and then my friends, talking about the non-beach side of the highway. Yeah, that picture on the left, on the right, not my ideal picture. We have some much nicer neighborhoods. That's kind of an entry-level neighborhood on the non-beach side of the highway. The non-beach side of the highway is generally made up of gated communities of different price points. Okay, so we have entry-level neighborhoods that would start at as low as under 100K US for a 2-bedroom condo. Like you could literally get something for around 70K, very small, very entry level, 2-bedroom condos. Okay, generally they are where young Mexicans like to live, but there are some expats that live in there as well. And then we literally have everything from there. So we have some neighborhoods that are, expat friendly communities. So over here, I'm not going to go through all the different neighborhoods on the non-beach side of the highway. We do have a neighborhood called Ejidal, which is kind of an expansion of Playa Centro, meaning that it's an open air neighborhood, not so much made up of gated communities. There are a couple of gated communities within Ejidal, but primarily what we're seeing are new condo buildings coming to market to replace the colonial or older style homes that traditionally made up this neighborhood. And definitely price points in this neighborhood are going to be more affordable than similar condos on the beach side of Playa. And again, if you're on the non-beach side of the highway, this will generally appeal to both people that want to live here full time or many months out of the year, let's say, and as well as tenants that want to rent on a long-term basis. I'm not saying you couldn't do Airbnb on the beach side on the non-beach side of the highway. Some people will still do that, but generally, we see people that want to live full time, whether expat families, and because usually you're looking at just to give you an idea, but yeah, there's a great variation of prices based on the neighborhood style of condo. Exactly. So what I said there. So one neighborhood that is very popular with expats is a neighborhood called Selva Nova, located. Oh, unfortunately, you won't be able to see, but we have, yeah. Well, you see here it says Avenida CTM. Well, somewhere around there. Okay, it's I know that even if I move my mouse cursor, you guys can't see it when I move it. Unfortunately, it doesn't translate. So bottom line, to give you an idea, a large 3-bedroom condo in Selvanova you can acquire for unfurnished for 160K US. You're not going to see those kinds of prices, not in Playa Car, not in Playa Centro. And a neighborhood like Selvanova will have pools, will often have, depending on which subdivision of Selvanova you're in, they'll probably have a gym. At the very least, they'll have a kids' playground. Neighborhoods like Alegranza and Bamboo, these are neighborhoods located behind Centro Maya. Centro Maya is one of the major commercial plazas we have here. So great location, right off the highway. Again, ideally, it's for families. And these two neighborhoods, Alegranza, Bamboo, price points there, you're looking at, 350K plus for a home there. These are larger homes, very family-friendly neighborhood. Again, amenities include at least a pool, kids' playground. Alegranza has a gym as well. Very desirable, more upscale standalone homes. And again, there's subdivisions. You have to go through security to go in. Very beautiful, very comfortable. And we certainly have a number of Canadian, American, French, you name it, German families, in addition to Mexicans as well. And again, I spoke about how in the Ejidal neighborhood, we're seeing new condos coming to market. I don't want to go into the price points there. I think because they do vary a lot based on the location and the finishings. Some projects are more upscale than others. But generally, if you were to compare a project in Ejidal to something in Playa Central, you're going to see the significant price differences. Okay. Oh, man. And where that almost brings us up to the end of my presentation, my friends. You know how to reach me. WhatsApp is the fastest way to reach me. I can be reached at that number. I know some of you are so sweet and you message me on Facebook. I do respond to Facebook messages, but not as quickly as WhatsApp. And I also answer emails. Okay, my friends. And thank you for tuning in. I'm going to stop sharing. And how do I go back to you? Oh, there we are. Okay. Oh, people are saying nice. Thank you. Carl, mi amigo, says nice. Thank you. Walt, one of my longtime YouTube viewers, says hi. Thank you. Nice to see you, Walt. Thanks everyone for tuning in. So excited. I finally did one of my webinars again. Carl, actually, he's a business owner from Canada, and I appreciate the support. My friends, have a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to being in touch soon. See you soon. Okay. Blessings. Thanks for tuning in.